Hi, my name is Lee Matthews and I'm a physiotherapist and I'm part of the pain management team at Queen's Hospital. This is part of a series of stretches aimed at people with widespread pain. This final section is predominantly exercise that can be done in the chair or laying in the bed. If you've got joint replacement like a hip replacement or a knee replacement, you just need to be a little bit careful when you're doing this because they're only designed to move within a certain range of movement, and I will give you some prompting with that. So if you can't lay on your bed to do them, you're welcome to do them in a chair, and that's what I'll be going through today. With all of our stretches, we've begun by doing the warm-up, so I'll do the warm-up in seated for this one. So first of all, think about rolling your shoulders. Going to do some shoulder rolls going forwards first of all. About 5 of those, and then let's roll backwards. And then our next warm-up movement is pulling the shoulder blades together, poking your chest out, feeling that tension between your shoulder blades, and then relax. And then one more time. And then relax. And then our next warm-up move is that nodding dog. So again, I'm going to just do some small nods with my head. First of all, over one shoulder, and then back to the centre, and the same to the other side. You might get some pops and creaks when you're moving in new ways, and that's perfectly okay. There you go, so that's that nodding dog movement. We then do our rotation movements. Again, if you're in a chair and there's not much freedom of movement, you might do this with your arms across your chest or on your shoulders, but sat away from the back of the chair or in standing, moving those shoulders from side to side, and I'm going to look round and follow that movement with my head. Get that back used to moving, and it eases muscle tension with these. That's good. About 5 of those. And if we wanted to try and mobilise our thoracic spine, we can be more specific, and the way we can do that is either with the arms across our chest or with the elbows bent, and I focus in front of me this time. Aiming for about 5 of those. And then give those arms a shake. So we're now going to do our leg warm up. So one of those is those ankle pumps. Again. And then bring one leg out in front of you and making some circles. And let's change the direction. And let's do the same on the other side now. And then swap in direction again. And then the last thing we do for our warm up is imagine you've got a stone in your shoe you're trying to shake out. There we go. So with the stretches we're going to do now, again, you work at a level that's right for you, don't force them, but try and relax into them. They're predominantly going to be for our legs. There's a couple of back stretches in there as well, but it's more hip and lower limb stuff for this. But again, hopefully between the series of stretches that we've been doing, they'll all help you in different ways and overall improve your overall flexibility. So the first thing we're going to do is a hamstring stretch. And the way that I'm going to do that, I'm going to bring my bottom forwards in the chair, so I've got a gap behind me, my bottom's on the edge of the chair. I'm going to bring one leg out in front of me, and by being on the front of the chair, can you see I've now got more room for moving and positioning there. That leg's going to be straight, and what I'm going to do is sit up nice and tall, and then bow forwards, and you'll start to feel that stretch on the back of your thigh from your bottom down the back of the leg there. And I hold that for about 10 seconds. And as with all these things, we don't bounce, we just try and relax into it. And then whatever you've done on one side, do the same. So again, leg out in front of me, and I'm going to sit up nice and tall, and then bow forwards until I feel that stretch on the back of the thigh. So again, if you've got a presentation of leg pain, things like sciatica, it can be really tight in your hamstrings. And so doing these stretches, you're going to feel it a lot more on one side to the other. But it's also really beneficial to try and gently start stretching these things. So these muscles are like ropes that tie onto our pelvis and can actually make it difficult for our back to move. So let's do the same on the other leg as I'm talking. So we do a few of these each day. It can improve your flexibility, but it can actually ease tension in the back as well. And one last time on the other legs again. Leg out in front of you, knees straight, sit up nice and tall and bow forwards. So I'm keeping my back straight there. Do you notice I'm not collapsing forwards because I want to be specific with this stretch to our hamstring. That's good. So I'm now going to bring myself back in the chair. So I'm resting against this. We're going to do a knee hug. And this is where if you've had a knee replacement or a hip replacement, you need to be careful. The hip replacements aren't designed to go beyond 90 degrees. But for the rest of you, you can hug a bit further in, and you might even feel this into your back. Again, if you're not bad with your knees, you can even add an extra little stretch for the knee there by hugging on the front of the shin. But if you're less comfortable with your knee, you might hold on the back of the thigh there. And the same on the other side. And I've got a luggage strap here, but if you struggle with holding there, you could even use a strap underneath your knee there, or again, just use your hands, either behind the thigh, or you hold on the front of the shin there, and you can add a little bit more of a stretch bias towards the knee then with this one. And you're going to feel that right into the hip as well there. Let's do the same again on each side. So again, choosing which hand hold you want to do, bringing the leg up towards you. So you might feel this deep into that groin area, or you might feel it in the low back around there if it's quite tight with those muscles. And the same again on the other side. This is much more of a hip stretch for me. That's good. So we've done a couple of those. And now we're going to move on to some stretches around the hip area. Again, they're not the most dignified things in the world, but these are important for things like getting into the car when we go to move into the bed, even things like standing when we get out of the chair. If you get tight in your hips, it can restrict us with movements. So the first stretch I'm going to do in a rather undignified way is to walk the feet as far apart as I can. I'm sat forwards on the chair, so it allows me to move. And at home, even if you're sat on the bed, you might be sat on the corner of the bed for this one. And again, you might just do the movement on its own, but if you wanted to add an extra stretch, you can place the hands on the inside of the thigh there, and that adds that extra stretch. And let's walk those feet in and do the same again. So I walk them out until I start to feel the stretch on the inside of the thigh, and then if you wish to do so, add that extra overpressure there. So that's one of our hip movements. Now from this position, we can do our next stretch. So what I'm now going to do is drop my knees in towards one another. So it's more of a rotation movement now of the hip, and you'll feel it in a slightly different area. And again, if you want to add extra pressure with your hands, you can do. And relax. And the same again. Hold. And again, it's perfectly normal for one side to be tighter than the other. Again, if you've had a hip replacement, you might just do the stretches on one side and don't go forcing the other side. You just move within what's comfortable for you. So if this one we've got our legs out on our knees together, we now need to do the opposite of that, which is almost like a frog's leg position. So again, my bottom needs to be on the edge of the chair for this one, and this time my heels are together and my knees come apart, plus or minus, adding that extra stretch on there. And let's bring those legs together and do that one more time. And you can relax there. Well done. From this position as well, what we can now do is a stretch that's probably more effective in laying, to be honest, but sometimes it's a bit awkward to go back up and lay on your bed, and we can do this in the chair. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lean back on the chair almost like I'm laying down, and I'm going to bring my arms up and over, and if you can now, just try and spread your fingers as far apart as you can, and try and spread your toes as far apart as you can. Now I've got shoes on and you can't see it, but my toes are spread as far apart as possible. And then relax again. And one more time. Out we go. Spreading those fingers, spreading those toes. That's good. And you can relax there. There's another stretch for the front of the thigh, and it's a little bit more complicated, so I'll talk you through it. But how I'm going to go about this, I'm going to sit sideways on the chair. Now look, can you see my bottom's hanging over the edge of the chair, and I've got my hand holding on the back. I'm going to be in a slouch for this one as well, so anytime I'll tell you to slouch, and I'm going to bring my leg underneath me until I start to feel the stretch on the front of the thigh, and I'm going to hold that for about 10 seconds. And then come back up again, and we'll do the same twice on this side to make it less awkward. And again, in a slouch, bring your leg underneath you until you feel that stretch on the front of your thigh. And then back up, and let's do the same on the other side. So here we go. I'm sat on the side of the chair, holding onto the back of the chair. I'm in a slouch, and I bring my leg underneath me until I feel that stretch on the front of the thigh. You might only go a little way, and you'll find that if you've got no shoes on and you're on a nice shiny floor, it's less resistance, so it's easier to do. And back up, and one more time. And back up again. Now if you found that awkward, there are other options. One of them might be to do it in standing, so here we go. You could have a chair or table in front of you, and you can either hold on to your ankle, or what might be easier is to use something like a luggage strap. So my knees are in line, I'm stood up nice and tall, and I pull the foot up towards my bottom. So that's one possible option with that, and obviously whatever you choose to do, then do. You need to be better with your balance than to stand independently, so hold on to something and be safe. That's good. And the last stretch we're going to do from our laying down section is like a prayer position. Now again, we can do that in standing by walking away from a chair, holding onto the top of it, trying to keep my knees relatively straight and my back straight. And then I come back up again, and let's do that one more time. So you might only go a little way with this, but there we go. Trying to have that stretch on my hamstrings, into my shoulders, into my back. It's a nice stretch to do. And back up. So there we go. Well, hopefully those were of some use to you. Again, they're part of a series, so by doing the stretches regularly, by doing some each day, hopefully you'll find that you can move a bit more freely and you're more comfortable with doing things. But go gentle, always stick with the easier option if you're not sure, and hopefully with time they'll become easier. It does take consistency of doing these. You need to be doing them ideally a minimum of 3 times a week, and ideally each day, and even then it could take about 8 to 12 weeks, because physiologically we need to allow time for muscles and joints to adapt. But we know they can be of help, and what's important is just doing the small, consistently and often, and hopefully you'll find you have more good days. And you also find if you stop doing them that it takes about 2 or 3 days, then you start to stiffen up again. So these are things that we'd be recommending that you continue to do in the longer term. So thanks for watching, hope this was of some help. See you soon.